They thought a soldier wouldn't fight back. I've seen that look before, and it never ends the way they expect. Owen Briggs stood still. The kid leaned in, tongue out, shards crunching under his sneakers. Owen didn't blink. He logged the angle, the glint on broken glass, the smirk by the fence, hands locked behind his back, weight on the right heel. The street felt quiet enough to hear a trigger click. His glasses tipped, half a degree. That was enough. The first move was already on the board, and it wasn't the kids. Owen Briggs had written parts of the honor guard protocol at Arlington, not the flashy parts, the ones that kept the line straight, the salute timed, the dignity unbroken. He knew how to hold still and how to make movement count. In this neighborhood, silence got misread. People thought it meant you didn't care. They forgot silence could be the space before the hammer fell. He'd moved here 7 years ago, after his father's last winter. The garden was his father's doing. Every post hole dug by hand. Every bulb wired with the kind of care only a man who fixed his own truck in the rain would bother with. The first light went in on a Sunday, just before dusk. His father had stood there with a beer in one hand, grinning like the yard was finally finished. Owen had kept it the same brick border, same gravel path, same light posts, painted once a year whether they needed it or not. The HOA didn't build this, they didn't pay for it, but they'd love to tell him what he could do with it. He looked down. One shard had caught in the tread of his boot. Clear glass, a hairline crack running straight through. He nudged it free, watched it tumble to the curb. The sun was dropping behind the oak by his mailbox. Good. The west-facing camera would have a clean shot of the fence. The boy was still there, grinning. Owen rolled his shoulders back, hands locked behind him. One slow inhale, one steady exhale. A scratch ran along the post where the globe had been. Not new. He'd made it years ago, moving a ladder too fast. His father had laughed. Leave it. A yard's gotta have a little history. Owen straightened his cuff. Once. Marcia Bennett was by the fence now, arms folded like she was presiding over a trial no one asked for. Somewhere behind her, a phone camera tilted for a better view. Owen didn't look. He was measuring distance, remembering dates, cataloging every face that would need to see the replay. The board was set. They just didn't know what game it was. The red sign was already up. HOA violation. Bold letters bleeding against the white. It swung in the wind. Thud, thud, wood to post. The boy stepped forward, ball tucked under one arm, tongue out again, longer this time. A performance for whoever was filming. Behind him, a woman in white, arms folded, head tipped just enough to say she owned this square of street. Owen had seen her at one meeting, never heard her speak. Now, she smiled like this was a victory lap, the kind you take before the game's over. She didn't know she was still in the first quarter. 2 more neighbors had drifted over, phones up. Faces angled for the best frame. The kid shifted his weight. Gravel cracked under his sneaker, 1 step closer to the broken light. "You'll need to remove that," the woman in white said, loud enough for the street, calm enough to pretend it was procedure. Owen didn't answer. Her smile widened, like a teacher certain the student didn't study. "It's public space," she added. "The light's trash now. HOA property." A breeze caught the red sign. Thud, thud. Owen's hand shifted, just enough to tap the watch on his wrist. A soft double click. Recording. Every syllable slid into the archive. Every smug pause. Every legal misstep. The boy laughed. A sharp, thin sound. Bounced once off the mailbox and into Owen's jaw. He kept his head still, eyes behind glass. The woman mistook it for compliance. The kid mistook it for fear. The neighbors kept filming. Owen shifted his weight to his right heel, cocked his head a fraction, just enough to catch the camera's angle and the reflection of her sunglasses. Everything here would replay perfectly. Every face, every word, every mistake. The wind slowed. The red sign stilled. For 1 second, the street went quiet. That was enough. He had what he needed. Sometimes a moment like that stays with you. You watch someone bend the rules, certain no one will call them on it, and you remember the times you kept quiet too. If you want to hear more stories where silence isn't surrender, stay with us here and subscribe. Owen didn't raise his voice, didn't ask the boy to step back, Didn't tell the woman in white to mind her own fence. He stepped once toward the porch. The crunch of glass trailed him, each shard in place, each angle marked in his head. Inside, the hallway light stayed off. No need to give them a show. One touch on the keyboard. The porch camera feed rolled back exactly 2 minutes. Pause, screenshot, the boy's tongue midair, the ball tucked under his arm, the red violation notice in the same frame. He crouched at the threshold, snapped a photo of the largest shard. The sunlight hit it just enough to flare in the lens. Time code locked, shadow lines pointing to the fence post. The rulebook sat in a top drawer, wrapped in an old manila folder. Not the glossy PDF they'd hand out now, the one with language from before the board changed hands. He scanned the clause on private fixtures, highlighted the part about original installation prior to 1998. The cursor blinked in a new email. To Miles Ortega. Subject, for record, no greeting, no opinion, only the images, only the clause, only the date stamp from last year's committee archive. A second later, the low chime of mail sent filled the room, short, final. Owen sealed the shard inside a zip bag, pressed the air out, set it on the counter beside his keys. Evidence didn't need anger, it needed order. Through the kitchen window, the woman still stood at the fence, arms folded. The boy kicked at the grass. They didn't know a thing about the file that now lived in Miles Ortega's inbox. Miles, who never took sides. Miles, who remembered the night the old lamp first lit. Owen adjusted his cuff, once. Watched the boy lob the ball in the air, careless. The bag on the counter caught a slice of light from the window. Outside, the wind tapped the violation notice against the wood. Cock, cock. Each knock steady. Each one closer to the moment they'd hear something other than silence. The thread went out just before noon. Subject line, plain. Body cleaner than a contract. One question, Owen wrote. If a property fixture is damaged by someone, who is responsible under our violation notice policy? No accusation, no name. Just the kind of query that made people scroll back to the handbook. The first red receipt came in under a minute. Miles, then Mrs. Taylor from the corner lot, then 2 more addresses Owen didn't need to know. He waited. Let the quiet do its work. At 12:17, the reply all tag lit up. From HOA board. Paula Rennick's signature block at the bottom. The answer was short, definitive. The property owner is responsible for any fixture damage on their lot. A click. A second email drafted before the thread cooled. This time, Owen attached 3 images. Frame 1, the lamp whole, glowing against the pre-dawn dark. Frame 2, the boy, mid-step, ball in crook of his arm, shadow stretched toward the base. Frame 3, the shattered glass under the same sun as that morning. Each one stamped with a time code. Under the pictures, only one line. Sequence from exterior camera, taken on my property. Individual in red shirt, identified as Aiden Knox. Then he hit send to everyone. The inbox counter ticked. 1 red, 2, 4. Each click of the digital tally felt like a hammer finding its mark. Outside, the street looked the same, Paula by the fence, phone in hand. But she shifted her weight now, eyes cutting toward the boy, toward the ball, toward the shard still missing from the lamp. Miles's reply came next. 1 word. Received. By dinner, the thread had doubled in length. Neighbors asking if the rule applied to minors. Others quoting Paula's own reply. No one defending Aiden. And Paula's name, once just the quiet at the end of a memo, now sitting in bold above every answer. She had spoken first. Big mistake. Owen closed the laptop. The streetlight outside blinked on. Somewhere down the block, the violation notice still tapped against wood. Cock, cock, not a countdown, not anymore. Just the sound of a door starting to close. On them, not him. The folding chairs were full, name tags clipped, paper cups sweating onto the tables. Paula opened with confidence, voice crisp, pages in hand. This board operates under the updated bylaws of 2022. Section 14 clearly states. Owen let her finish, then set his folder down. slow, flat. From it, he pulled the older binder, edges worn, tabs marked. "The bylaws in force," he said, "are the version filed in 2019. He flipped to Section 9. Read it once. Calm. Property fixtures are to be preserved and restored at HOA expense if damaged without the owner's consent. Paula shifted. "It's been amended." Owen reached into the zip bag, held up the shard. Light caught the beveled edge, the faint ring of the manufacturer's mark. "This is from a Model G47 lamp," he said. "Same as on my invoice from 6 years ago." He slid the paper across. No one touched it. Then came the second folder, printed emails. He tapped one. Paula's own words. "The property owner is responsible." A click from the projector. Video filled the wall. Frame 1, the line between his grass and the street. Frame 2, Aiden Knox, red shirt, ball tucked under arm. Frame 3, the swing of a foot, the burst of glass. Pause. The boy's tongue mid-taunt, frozen in pixels. A rustle moved through the chairs. Miles spoke from the back. "I received that footage, time-stamped, before the violation notice went out." The room's air shifted, first as murmurs, then as silence heavy enough to hear the creak of a board member's chair. Owen didn't raise his voice, didn't need to. They knew the damage was not mine. And still, he tapped the violation notice. "This." Paula looked at the screen, then at her own papers. One of the board members closed his folder without a word. The vote came faster than expected. Motion to rescind the violation. Motion to assign community service and restitution. Both passed. Owen glanced at his watch. 7 minutes from first word to gavel. The shard went back in the bag. The screen went black. And the sound that followed was not applause. Just the scrape of chairs and the quiet turn of faces no longer looking at him, but at her. 4 weeks later, the street was quiet again. The kind of quiet that settles after something breaks and is put back the right way. Aiden Knox carried the rake over his shoulder, trailing behind 2 old veterans in faded caps. No cameras now, no smirks. Paula worked the trash bags at the curb, head down. The board name tag was gone. On the last day, footsteps came up the porch. 3 knocks, measured. Owen opened the door. Aiden stood there, holding a ball still in its store wrapping. For a second, the boy looked past him, into the yard. At the lamp now standing straight, its glass whole. The new bulb glowed low, a warm amber, soft against the evening. The boy's voice was small. "Sir." Once, no more. Owen took the ball, nodded, no smile. From the corner of his eye, he saw the fence post where the red HOA notice had hung. Only a single nail remained, catching the light. The veterans walked past, their boots steady on the sidewalk. One of them tipped his hat. Owen stepped out, let the screen door swing shut behind him. The air smelled faintly of cut grass and something older, like oil on wood, like the night his father wired the first lamp. He reached up, adjusted the shade. Once, somewhere down the block, a mower started. The sound faded as he crossed the yard, the gravel crunching under his heel. The lamp's glow followed him to the porch. It would stay lit until morning. Nothing else needed to be said. The lamp stayed on that night. Not bright, just enough. Wind moved through the hedges in slow waves. Shadows shifted across the fence. The single nail caught the last light and held it. Somewhere, a dog barked twice. Stopped. On the porch, the ball sat against the wall, still wrapped, still round. It would stay there until someone decided what to do with it. Owen's hand brushed the lamppost once before going inside, not to check it, to remember it. Out on the street, people passed without looking over. Not from fear, just the quiet knowledge that something had changed here, not loudly, not publicly, but enough to settle the air. An old saying from his father returned without warning. "Don't waste breath on a fool, make him see." The night deepened. The glow held steady. Some battles are never announced. They begin in silence and end the same way. There are things that do not need to be fought for. As long as we can hold our ground, calm, steady, and wait for the right moment to act,